In 2025, I sold over $1 million worth of product on Amazon, and this is episode 15 of me scaling my business to $3 million in 2026. In this one, we're going to talk about how the second week of April went, show you guys some of my struggles, my successes, and overall where the business is at. One thing before we get into it, if you guys have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, link is in the description below. In here, I post free game once a week on Wednesdays to help you start or scale your Amazon online arbitrage business. Okay, and with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so let's go ahead and cover how 4/8 to 4/14 of April went. So the first thing we can see is that I bought roughly around 3,800 units this week. This week's going to be kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. ACOG was $27, ASP was about $51. Unique ASINs that we've bought so far this month is now up to 116, and then we can also see that our ROI is at 34.77% and our margin is at 18.54%. Estimated sales for this week is looking to be about $196,000 in projections. We spent over 100K just this week alone. We have about 1,700 bucks on hold, so most of the holds have been moved over now, and projected profits this week was about $36,523 and some change, which leaves us with a total net profit projection for $40,000 at a 15.5% net margin, which is just absolutely insane, to be honest. And then here's also what our seller central payouts are looking like. So we're just on the cusp of about 100K in payouts, which is great because, you know, I want to start spending closer to like $250,000 a month at this point. So, you know, by being able to kind of snowball that cash that we've been making into just more and more payouts, that's definitely going to help not have to hopefully take more loans or anything like that. I did apply for a credit card this past week and did get approved. If you guys don't know, Amex just dropped a new graphite card. Basically acts like the Capital One Spark, to where it's that 2% and it has no preset spending limit, which is better than the Spark because the Spark gives you a limit and you have to kind of abide by that. But it is dangerous, so got to be smart with that. Still need to push for more credit limit increases in the coming weeks, but pretty much everything there. So let's go ahead, get into the Google Sheet, and I'll show you guys what we're kind of looking like for the total spend so far on the month and just kind of where we are pacing. All right, so now in the Google spreadsheet here, you guys can see that right now we are at a projected estimated sales range of about 265K with spend at about 140 and profits at about 49K, which is just honestly insane. Bought over 5,000 units so far this month with a $27 ACOG and a $51 ASP. So as you guys can see, we are way ahead of, you know, the goals that we originally set, which is just phenomenal because I was working so much this week on systems, team building, a lot of stuff that was not spend focused, and we somehow spent six figures. So just a lot of preparation, I would say, is what went into being able to do this week, preparing, you know, in prior days and things like that. Just, you know, as I was getting more into the systems and the team building aspects, that was essentially what allowed my sourcers to kind of prepare on their front to have more of a busier week. And I think them having a busier week definitely made them step it up. So they did absolutely incredible. And yeah, that's essentially where we sit right now. You guys can see that overall we're looking at about an 18% margin with a 35% ROI. And in the net section here, you guys can see again that we are at about a 15.5% net. So really, really impressive. And with all that out of the way, we can go ahead, jump into Seller Board, and I can show you guys a little bit about what we actually made this week and how much we sold. Okay, so here in Seller Board, you guys can see that we sold pretty much $93,000 this week, which is great. And then we also sold over 1,500 units, 82 refunds, and then a gross profit of about 14K. And if we go ahead and expand this here, you guys can see that the refund rate was pretty high this week at almost 5%. So not great. Definitely not a good sellable returns rate either. However, our margin is still holding strong though at 15.29%. So really happy to see that, but that refund rate is not good. So we got to figure out what's going on with that. Probably a couple buys that I might have overlooked or something, restocked when they were being returned a bunch. So just got to be more aware of that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to go ahead, calculate the numbers with all of our overhead, all of our fees, all that kind of stuff, and show you guys what our actualized profit for April 8th through the 14th. All right, so this is what our total overhead looks like this week for the amount of COGS we sold. So 1670 units times $1.40 for prep. That's the 2,388 number or 38 number. And then our actual team overhead, just for like VAs, softwares, all that stuff, about $1,000 for the week. So we're looking at about 3,200 bucks in overhead. Let's go ahead, take that off of the net profit for what we're seeing here. You guys can see we walked away with about $10,905.18 in pretty much projected, but also net margin or net profit. So now we're going to go ahead and find the net margin by taking that number there, and we're going to go ahead and divide it by our revenue to see what we ended ended at. Another week where we went pretty much 11.7, 11.8. So if I can continue to maintain this whole year, I will be very happy. That is great in my opinion for the scale that I'm running now. And just like kind of learning to grow with the growth that I've been experiencing. So clearly I got something that's working. So I'm just going to keep doubling down on what we're doing, not change anything to be honest, and just make sure that everything systemically and skill wise is leveling up, and then the results will speak for themselves. So now we'll go ahead and get into what I was working on this week more specifically, and then I'll also run you guys down through some of the struggles, talking points, because there definitely was some this week. I know on paper it looks like I had an incredible week, which I definitely did, but you know, systemically and mentally I was feeling very fried. So I'll kind of touch on how I was able to overcome some hurdles, maybe give you guys some advice, and hopefully help you guys out if you're maybe in that same spot that I was, you know, for this past week. All right, so the first thing that I was working on this week was going to be team building, and more so just like learning to grow into having a bigger team. To me, this has been such a new era of business, you know, just running for now like a team of 6 people. Literally before this month, like exactly a month ago, we had a team of 3. So I hired 2 sourcers, I hired 1 buyer, right? So it was a lot to kind of grow into, especially in the early parts of May. Maybe not early, but like the mid to late ends of May. Definitely a lot to grow into, because not only did I have to go through hiring, but then I also had to go through just training, making sure that like when they're actually applying the training stuff, they learn that they're getting better. So it's been a lot, to be honest. And now we're finally starting to see some of the fruits of each person's labor. I feel like the new sourcers are definitely starting to become more responsible and actually able to have potential to start finding good products. They've already found a couple, but a little bit underwhelming with their results. But I do think their skills are definitely developing. And same thing goes for my buyer. Now, on the other hand, I think he is doing very well. He was helping us place a lot of orders this past week. So hats off to that guy. And also hats off to my admin coordinator, like my operations admin. So she was also helping him a ton, putting together buy sheets, putting together stuff that he was supposed to work on so that we could monitor his performance as well. So really, really appreciate her for that. But in tandem with all that stuff, like I had to realize the best VAs that I have, which is going to be like my head of ops for admin and sourcing, you know, they're not going to be able to just manage staff on their own just because they're great at what they do. Managing is a lot different from what I've learned than just being a great employee, right? Because you actually have to be like responsible for other people's learning. You have to be responsible for how often and how frequently are they getting tasks done? Are they getting them done on time? Are they doing them incorrectly? Are they doing them correctly? If they are messing up, how do you take a meeting to train them on how they messed up, right? I mean, it's a lot different, and it's a whole new ballgame, right? So I'm learning a lot along the way with all the new changes made, just with the team and developing into an actual size team. And there's going to be also changes that we make to, you know, how we do our meetings moving forward, which I have some ideas for next week coming up on how I want to do that stuff. But yeah, just honestly, like I think a big part of what was putting me down this week was like we had some scenarios with the buying team to where things were not getting done on time. We were running into issues. And then on top of that, I have a whole to-do list of like every single department of the business, whether it be software, whether it be sourcing, whether it be admin, whether it be, you know, team building, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm just really playing all hats right now. So it felt very overwhelming. But now that we're starting to come out of that and starting to see like the team getting better, the software doing its thing, it's starting to buy back some of my time, which is great. And then the next thing we started working on this week was systemic changes. Huge milestones made here. Was able to make my software automatically create inbound records into my prep center. So no longer does my team have to essentially take what's in our software and then re-enter all that information one by one into a prep portal. Essentially, it automatically downloads a CSV for the whole day, and then the VAs literally just export the CSV from us, import it into the prep center, and then from there, everything gets uploaded as if they literally entered it one by one. Pretty much from what I've seen, very minimal mistakes. A little bit of bug fixes I had to make here and there along the way, but that has been a massive time saver. And the good thing is that my buyers handle that. So now that that's handled, they have more time to go buy and get things done on time, right? So that's my goal with this whole thing is like, as I've brought more people on, it's not just to like have them kind of cover other people's work. It's to like, okay, you get good at something and then we figure out where you're spending time not generating revenue. Let's cut that out and then let's put your extra time back into generating revenue. I want everybody on my team being able to generate profit, revenue, some sort of actual needle moving activity with as much time as they can spend on that stuff as possible. And leading into that, I'm in the works right now of getting our audits for the prep center systemized with with reconciling sitting and partially received inventory, and then telling an employee how to handle that situation all through software. So essentially, if you guys have ever used a prep center, you'll know that stuff can sometimes end up piling up. It'll start sitting, and then you'll have to start going through seeing, hey, did this deliver, that before you even send a message to the prep center, right? If it's delivered, then you got to like get on the prep center, hey, send this out, figure out why there's an issue as to why it's sitting. So I'm building out my software to essentially do all that for a VA, and so that the VA just gets problem solution, and then they go open a ticket and manage the customer service side of things. So that's going to be a huge help as well. It also helps us see what stuff is sitting more consistently in the prep center that has elapsed past our acceptable date ranges. So I typically don't like stuff sitting past a week if it's in inventory, and then if it's on inbound, 10 days. So, you know, I try and keep the window tight, because if suppliers short us or if there's issues with the packages, we can get on the reconciliation for that, whether it's requesting replacements, having our prep center go through and audit their warehouse, just basically trying to get on problems quick so that they don't turn into bigger problems. And then the last thing I'm focusing on as well is testing Claude Cowork to update our seller board cost of goods. So if you guys haven't checked out that video on my YouTube where I show you how to do it yourself manually, I'm essentially now giving that all to Cowork so that it can do it itself. And that's going to save my admin VA probably 2 to 4 hours a week, which is obviously really beneficial because she can spend that 2 to 4 hours a week handling customer service inquiries, getting stuff out of the prep center, getting gift cards back for stuff that's canceled, right? Ordering replacements, all that kind of stuff. Again, gearing my team, doing all revenue generating activities. So hopefully we can get a breakthrough there. Cowork, I don't really trust because Claude Cowork kind of sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck. Like, it's a cool feature, but it's like, it's not as game changing as everybody makes it sound, because it's so slow. But with something like seller board cost of goods, where it's not something that needs to be urgently done, as long as it can do it, that's good enough for me. So that's what I was working on this week, getting into some of the struggles and talking points that I want to touch on. Really, something I struggled with this week was like really changing my mindset around how we're going to grow this business moving forward, and how to actually position people to manage other people. Again, I think it's a huge difference between an employee that's great and a manager who's actually moving their department forward. And I also realized that like me staying very involved in my own business right now is totally acceptable, and that's okay. I think a lot of times people in business, especially when they feel like they've, I don't want to say made it, but just feel like they're in a position where they shouldn't be doing the small things anymore, always feel like they're entitled to start kind of exiting the business, right? Getting people who can actually take over for them. But the problem is that if those people are not genuinely qualified to move the needle forward without you, then you have to be involved, and you have to figure out ways to actually get that system and process where it needs to be. Because I don't think it's a bad thing being in your business, guys. Like, as long as you're focusing on what actually moves the needle forward, whether that's sourcing, whether that's systems, whether that's team building, like anything that moves the needle forward for you is not a net negative that it requires your time to do so, right? Like, I would have never been able to have grown to where I'm at right now if I just wanted to exit the business in January. If I wanted to think that a couple AI systems and software and a couple hires instantly was going to allow me to like quit the business, right? I mean, not quit the business, but like, you know what I mean? Like, let it run on its own. Like, it's great to be involved, guys. It's great to be involved in your own business. Like, you should be very, very involved, because it also allows you to lead your entire team forward to heights that you never thought was possible, right? Like, for this series, I don't want to go on too much of a rant here, but for this series, I set a goal of doing 3 million in annual revenue for this year. With what we're on track with for April, we're going to be so close to hitting 400,000 in revenue. 400 grand, right? Like, I would have never imagined the numbers that I'd be doing now. And a huge component of that is just staying hungry, right? Like, I have other obligations outside of my Amazon business, right? Like, obviously relationships, friends, family, life, and then also building a second business on the side along this. And it's like, guys, if you want something bad enough, you'll figure out how to get it, right? Like, nothing is impossible. And if you just stick with something long enough and you actually stay dedicated, but more importantly, you actually like, you're in the business, right? Like, you're doing something to move the needle forward, things are going to work out your way. It's just giving things time. So just wanted to give that as anyone who was struggling, not even just this past week, but like, if you're struggling right now, just understand that like, your time is coming, and especially in a business like Amazon, to where the results you get are 30 days ahead of the work you put in 30 days before, right? So like the work you're putting in today, you're not going to see your results until a month later. And that's okay, because that gives you a foundation to build loads of momentum, so that when your results start pouring in, you have more motivation to go and get richer, right? Go and get more money, figure out how to make your business better on any side of that, any side of the business, right? Whether it's systems, teams, sourcing, admin, anything like that. So that was what I was struggling with this week. Again, just the team I felt like was kind of falling off track, and I had to step in. I had to be the leader that is going to get this business to probably more than 3 million this year, right? 4 or 5, whatever the case may be. So I had to step in, take a couple one-on-one calls, get everybody straightened out, tell them, hey, like, this is our expectations. This is the things that we value, and this is how you should act in accordance to that, right? I don't believe in setting rules for people. I heard a great thing from Hormozy where he was like, get people to follow values, not rules, because rules create robots. Values is what actually builds culture and enables your team to act in a similar way as what you would, which create leaders for the future. So I think that's a huge thing I'm going to emphasize to my team moving forward, is that I want everybody to be a leader in some way. Obviously, the bigger fish are going to lead the smaller fish, but at the same time, I think those smaller fish should take ownership and leadership over what they're really good at and what they are doing to drive revenue for the business. Because I'm not just making pointless hires to where people can be, I don't want to say replaced, everyone can be replaced, but the point isn't to replace people, right? The point is to get people to be very skilled, just like I am, so that I have a bunch of skilled people on my team that can do each of their tasks at a very high level, which is obviously going to create a high growing and high profit business. So that's just some stuff I wanted to leave for you guys for the struggles and talking points for this week. And then moving on to, next week, what I want to just kind of wrap up for this video is a couple of short things. I really want to be able to finish our Prep Center audit system. Still waiting on a couple of fixes from the developers who actually own their prep software. They need to fix some stuff with the CSV to get my tracking numbers. And then also I'm waiting on an API from a third party service carrier provider. Think somebody like Shippo, EasyPost, basically platforms that can look up tracking numbers automatically so that my team doesn't have to do that. And it can look up like a variety of tracking carriers, which is going to be great for basically making that look the tracking numbers up and not my team. And then the next thing is going to be install an actual meeting structure with each department of my team. Keep close tabs on how everybody's doing. Again, reiterate goals, work on things that aren't going well, reiterate things that are going great. Positive reinforcement over negative reinforcement is always the way I like to train my team, because it keeps everybody in good, it keeps everybody in good like headspace, keeps them focused on what they've been doing well too. So that's kind of like what I'm looking towards for next week. We're finally kind of coming out of the struggle. So yeah, last week was really rough, but this week is going a lot better. So just wanted to give you guys an update for, what we were doing for this past week. With all that out of the way, that is essentially going to wrap up episode 15 this week. Hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Again, feel free to sign up to the newsletter. Link is in the description below, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. So until then, peace out.